pretty awesome for those. But I mean, I feel like, I mean, we could discuss, the price buildup. If I know Kenny D and Greg P. Greg, how you doing this morning, man? You're muted, Greg.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was having a problem getting the turn back on. Everything's good, man. How about y'all?
Good. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, y'all.
I'm officially halfway to 70 today, and my back feels it too. So,
happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Things I was doing when I was your age, dude, give me a break.
What was that, 30 years ago?
15.
So Todd and I were talking this morning, and we had talked about, really the next step of the demo process. Is Izzy going to be on the call this morning? You don't know? Okay. Which, obviously we've gone through the approach. We've gone through the intro, building the need, the buying atmosphere. Really the next step is going to be the price build up, and then the intro to close and the close. So, Todd, I mean, do you want to take it away with, kind of really focusing on doing price build up, maximizing that, and
I mean, the price buildup has changed obviously since we don't have that sheet anymore in our iPad that says, let me switch you the leader of this call real quick. Oh crap! How do I do that?
You got it, buddy.
Oh, it didn't log my iPad on. Sorry, guys. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm sitting here trying to do something that won't work. The price buildup, has changed since now we're on the iPad. Before we had that USA Today article. Does anybody remember that? That was pre iPad.
Yeah,
and that really carried us through. You do? Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
how do you use that in your...
The verbiage is still the same. The verbiage is still the same. It's just, I mean, basically it's just simply, hey, how much health insurance costs folks these days? The average American family is paying for health insurance right now. It's it's around $1,500 a month, which is crazy. Which I mean, I can turn it on and start going through this.
Just use this.
Go ahead, Brad.
All right. So first thing, since we'll just go ahead and dive into this, y'all, price build up page, y'all, this is a very important part of the process of the demo, just like all of the 6 steps of the demo are very important. Y'all, the purpose of the buying atmosphere is to make people really understand how affordable our coverage is and how much money people spend on stupid things every month. So just understand that, like, especially if you're working with somebody, you have to be able to show them how to do an effective price buildup. You have to, because this is when people get the wow factor. And there's a lot of things that psychologically are happening when you do a huge price buildup and then you show them the actual price of it after you've made it think like this is going to cost them $500 a month. I've had plenty of people when I do a price buildup that they're like, it's got to cost as much as health insurance. Yeah, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500 a month. So y'all just understand there is a huge purpose for the price buildup, and it needs to be done effectively. And when it is done effectively, it makes people feel a lot more comfortable about buying. And you'll also sell higher policies, higher premium policies, better coverages to families. So just understand the purpose for it. It is real. There's a reason why we do these things, and it's not a step to skip over. When I see people,
do you guys know why we do that? Does anybody know why is it important to do the price build up? Greg or Brandy, not me, or Kenny D or Brett.
So the price build up is important because you're building, I mean, we're building up exactly the benefits of what this does, what it's going to help protect. And then we're knocking the bottom out of it as far as how cheap and affordable it is to have this. But the price build up is just, you know, you're building that up. This is what this does, how much, you know, and then you belittle the cost to them and they're like, wow, you know, this is actually pretty cheap. Like last night when we were doing an enrollment, the guy's like, this is cheaper than I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, yeah. And look at what it does compared to what your health insurance is going to do.
Right. So guys, we're trying to make what we do seem cheaper. Go ahead, Greg. Sorry, brother.
No, it's all right, man. But yeah, just kind of to tack on what Brandy was talking about. When it comes to the whole price buildup, to me, is that person is sitting there right now, and all they're thinking about is how much is this going to cost? You know, I'm seeing all these big numbers. Yeah, it's great and all that, but and even the people that don't have private health insurance, they're still typically paying $200-300 a month through a company, you know, that's subsidized to be able to cover their family. So, you know, when you throw those big numbers out there, $1,500, $2,500 a month, and then you shoot them so low with what we offer, you know, and it's telling them, you know, yeah, $3,000, you know, or $6,000 straight to your checking account. All this cash money that's going straight to them that they can use to pay their deductible or their you know, co-payments or, you know, mortgage or whatever. It just gives them options, and they see that, you know, they don't really have a lot of options with their health insurance. It's kind of like, this is what you got. But that money goes straight to them, and they actually can use that to, and I know I'm kind of getting off in the weeds, and I apologize, but the price build up just sets them up. Their expectations are so much higher than what it really is. And then when they see that low number, they're like, wow. And that's what I get from a lot of people's wow.
Yeah. And guys, that's the reason that we're doing it, because we want them to go, wow, I can afford that. And you're like, yeah, you can. You know, it's not as bad as you thought it is. And they're like, no, it's not. You're like, great. You know, so we want to make sure that we build that pinnacle. We're in their head. We're going, man, shit. I mean, back in the day, we'd be like, hey, man, you know, the average family of four is paying almost $1,000 a month in health insurance, man. And this was back in the, you know, whenever that article was from,
2001.
you know, 2001. This is back in early 2000. You know, do you think it's more or less now? And they're like, well, definitely more. And they're like, yeah. You know, so, and they go, well, hey, you know, how much is this going to cost? And you look right at them and you go, hey, man, this is going to cost for you guys. I think the number is about $750 a month. That's not bad. And then you just sit there, and some people will be like, oh, crap. Some people will be like, yeah, that really isn't that bad. And if they say, hey, that's not that bad, I look at them and go, well, man, if you think that's not bad, then you're going to love me in about 2 minutes. Because I'm just kidding. It's nowhere near that much. Right? And guys, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it seem crazy. Now, the trick with that is when you're sitting down with an old person, don't go, hey, man, it's going to cost you about $300 a month. Man, that's not bad. Because the reality is it's
about $300 a month.
Yeah, it's going to cost them $300 a month, guys. So don't, you know, you got to remember to shoot high, but don't get crazy. Right? So,
know your audience. Know your audience.
And guys, know your app. Know what the costs are. Okay? I mean, be familiar with it.
Yeah, don't send them a cardiac arrest.
Right. Correct, Greg. But I mean, it's easy to do it when it's a person who's young and you know, oh, okay, cool. It's only $47.70, you know, for the elite. You know, most of us go, okay, cool. That's not that bad. Sorry, guys. Izzy is texting me. I'm trying to. He says he's in the waiting room, ready to be let in. Let me do this, guys. Sorry. I always forget when I switch over to my iPad that it makes that the host, and I can't see that stuff. Okay. Hopefully this will change. All right. So, Yeah, guys. I mean, just know your audience, know your product, know your audience. But, you know, you're building up the price so that when they get to it, they're thinking, hey, it's pretty low. One of the things that I do, guys, as well, when I'm talking to somebody and I can tell that they're going to buy, I'll say to them, hey, here's the deal. If they're young, especially, you know, because a lot of people want to get coverage. I look at them and go, here's the deal. Pick a number in your head that you don't want to go over, your budget. Budget the amount of money that you're willing to spend on this. I said, don't tell me what it is. Don't tell me what the number is. But in a minute, what we're going to do is try and fit the coverages that you want into that number. How about that? Does that make sense? And let me ask you this question, guys. What number do you think people normally pick in their head when I ask them that question?
$100 a month.
100.
$100. $100 a month, guys. So I know already, okay, a good salesperson does not ask questions they don't know the answers to. I already know in my head that they're probably going to pick $100. So when they say, man, my number was $100, I don't go, no, really? I go, cool, let's make it work. $100. Most people are picking $100. Good morning, Izzy.
Morning.
And, you know, there's really
a
very simple, effective way to make people think that $100 mark. And it's just simply, hey, look, so, you know, and I do this all the time, especially when people are sitting there and they're looking at all these different things and they're trying to figure out which levels of different coverages. And I'm just like, hey, look, all you're doing is complicating things for yourself right now. And don't worry, a lot of people do that. I know we have all these different levels of coverage with all these different options. Everybody has a monthly budget to put towards a proper backup plan, because this is the one thing that's going to take care of all the other bills that you have. All right. Some people, that budget is $50 a month. Some people it's $100 a month. Some people it's $200 a month. Some people it's a little more than that. So, Brandy, for you, what would be a comfortable monthly budget for you to put towards a proper backup plan that's going to take care of you and your family if something were to happen? And the majority of the time, y'all, that number is $100. $100 a month. And depending on how they say that can really help you guide what you can really do. I've had people sit down and tell me $100 a month, and then I'll go through and with the different coverages and different options, and they end up picking up $180 a month worth of coverage. And it's only if you can make it make sense. I've had people sit down, they tell me that, and they pick up $200 a month worth of coverage. But it's only how good you are at making things make sense for what they need with the different coverages and what's going to make sense for them and their family. And y'all, it's Brandy, you heard me say this last night. Y'all have heard me say it a lot lately. All sales is making things make sense. And y'all, and don't be afraid to, if people are getting hung up, because man, I can't tell you how many times I've seen agents, you know, they let the customer get hung up on the pricing and they can't make a choice right there because they just have too many options. Y'all, you have to guide them. You have to guide them into making a comfortable decision for themselves and make it make sense for their budget. All right. Just asking them and look, just asking that question and then you being like, okay, so cool. I'll give you an elite cancer and ICU plan. And not really explaining why that's going to make sense for them doesn't help. Okay. So when you're going through this with people and you're figuring out, hey, which plans they're interested in, what's going to make the most sense for them and their family. You know, if it's a single parent with a bunch of kids running around, you might want to do a higher level accident coverage. You're going to use that a good bit because y'all, all it takes is one accident for it to pay for their coverage for years. That's all it takes. So y'all don't just ask that question, but break it down for why it makes sense. And people will agree with you. They'll, oh yeah, Brad, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. Yeah, let's do that. You know, and I can start, if people give me that $100 a month, you know, that $100 a month option or budget, the first quote I give them for the different levels of coverage and what they're interested in, it's going to be higher than $100 a month. But if I make it make enough sense for them and make it very important as it should be, they'll get more than $100 a month worth of coverage.
So, guys, I was on a call last night with a guy. I had a demo last night via Zoom, and the guy was going through and picking. In his head, we went through everything. We went to the product matrix where he can see all the prices and things like that. And I always tell people this. Here's the deal. I don't want you pissed off at me every month. I want you to pick a number that works. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because people start seeing drafts come out of their account and they're like, oh man, that's that Todd guy, man. He came in, blah, blah, blah. So I tell them up front, look, I don't want you pissed off at me every month. The last thing I want you to do is cancel this coverage. So get what works best so that you're not going to worry about it. You're not going to miss the money, and you're going to keep your coverage. I'm just honest because I don't want people canceling. One of the awesome things about Rob McLean is he did $270,000 last year. Guess what his cancellation is in dollar amount? Just guess what his cancellation was last year.
I'd say probably not even 15,000.
You're correct. It's 5,000.
Wow.
I mean, my cancellation percentage was like over 20 grand. So, I mean, I'm right at, it was not over 20 grand. It was like 18 and change. But guys, 18 and change. I had a lady cancel yesterday and it just pisses me off. Now when people cancel, I don't get upset about the money coming in. I get upset because they canceled, and that makes, I don't want cancellation. Right? Because we all have chargebacks in some way, shape, or form. But guys, sales. What does Van say? Sales is a Broadway play put on by
psychiatrists.
People who don't think that's what it is, man, you're fooling yourself. That's what we are. We're salespeople. Huh?
I said if you don't think that, then you're probably not good at sales.
Yeah, I mean, guys, that's what we do, man. We help people, think of a product that they don't think that they ever thought they needed.
And when you get good at it, when you really get good at it and breaking it down and leading people into making a choice, like you get a lot less objections and setting appointments and going back and oh, you know what? I need to sit down and really think about this and look at my budget and blah, blah, blah. Hey, look, we all spend stupid stuff. We all spend money on stupid stuff every month. And if they're holding coffee in their hand or they got a Monster Energy drink sitting right there or something like that, yeah, I'm calling them out on it. Hey, let me ask you, how many of those things you drink a day? 2 or 3? Those things are $3-4 a piece. Add that up. Do the math. You're paying over $100 a month for a drink. Okay. We all spend, and hey, I'm not saying it to make you feel bad about it. I'm just saying we all spend money on stupid stuff every month. But if you're spending over $100 a month on Monster Energy drinks or on coffee in the morning, what would be a comfortable monthly budget for you to put towards something like this? That's going to take care of all your other bills when something happens. And then people are like, damn, he's right. And once again,
and people hate, they hate for you to be right.
Yeah, they
guys,
do. But
they don't want you to be right, but you are. That's why looking around the room, do they dip? Do they have a cup from Bojangles sitting on their desk? Do they have a vaping mod? I pointed out, man, that thing's expensive. That's an expensive habit, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking. Do they dip? One guy was at the sheriff's office, man, and the guy was like, how much is this? In front of everybody. And I said, I guarantee you it's less than you spend every single month on that dip. And I called him out in front of everybody. Because, guys, here's the deal. At the end of the day, I don't care. I want to help people out, but I also want people to get past that barrier of the price. Oh, that's money out of my pocket. Yeah, man, so are those dip cans. But you don't have any problem. The guy dipped 5 cans of dip a day.
Wow.
I mean, that's Kenny D numbers right there. Kenny D is a huge dipper.
Oh, no doubt.
Y'all, once again,
so guys,
it all comes down to just making things make sense for people. That way they can make a decision today. And and it is an art form that you can get a lot better at that will make your life a lot easier. to where you don't have to deal with, follow-up appointments. And I told Bernie last night, look, I don't chase people at all. I don't set follow-up appointments. I don't. It's, hey, I'm here right now. You're here. Just like I told you, you can either give me a simple yes or a simple no. I don't do maybes. I don't.
And guys, in that same line right there, let people know, hey, man, you know what frustrates me? People who say, hey, I'm going to go home and check my budget. People who say, I'm going to go home and pray about it. I was like, I don't have any problem with praying, but let's be honest. You already know your budget. You know if this is something that works for you. Nobody ever calls me back. They do Zach, and I'm not sure why, but they do Zach. They will call Zach back like months and months and then later down the road. Nobody ever calls me and goes, hey, man, you remember talking to me about a cancer plan? Yeah, I want to get it. But let them know, man. Take those objections out of the way. Oh, I'm going to go home and pray about it. Awesome. Josiah was in a demo, and I wish he was on the call. He was demoing a preacher. And the guy goes, well, I'm going to pray about it. And he asked his wife, he said, honey, doesn't your parents have a cancer plan? And she said, yeah, I think so. She called her parents. They have a cancer plan. Guess whose cancer plan they have? Ours. I said to Josiah, I said, did you look at the preacher and go, sounds like a sign from God to me? I'm not sure. and he's like, no, I didn't say that. I was like, I would rock that. I would have jumped all over it. Hey, man, I don't know what you look for in signs, but that sounds like a pretty good sign to me. Right?
God has just answered your prayers already.
That's right. Now let's go ahead and do this. What else are you going to do? Hey, Izzy, it's Todd. What did God say when you asked him about the cancer plan? Is he on board? Oh, okay.
He told me to check my checking account. I ought to be able to make that decision myself.
And once again, the whole purpose of the price buildup is so you don't have to deal with a lot of what we're talking about. And you'll always deal with those situations at sometimes, but you'll deal with a lot less of it if you do a very effective price buildup. And if people are still on the fence about things, don't be afraid. Hey, look, everybody's got a monthly budget to put towards a backup plan. And you've already explained to me how important this would be for you to have. So look, we all spend stupid stuff or spend money on stupid stuff every month. And break it down for them. Look, we're talking $100 a month. And you said you're married and you have 3 kids, so there's 5 of y'all. Okay, so 100 divided by 5, that's $20 a month for each person to be covered. There's 4 weeks in each month, basically. So you're talking about $5 a week for each one of you to be covered. What'd you spend $5 on today? You probably spent more than that. You probably spent $10 today on lunch, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. It's like, exactly. So when you really think about it, it just makes sense because this is the one thing that's going to take care of all those other bills. So is that the level that's going to work for you? Yeah. All right, cool. Let's rock it out. And don't be afraid to be assertive with people and be very direct with them. You have to be direct with people when it comes to this stuff because some people think that being direct means being an asshole about it. It doesn't. It's simply, hey, I know what I'm talking about and I'm a professional and I'm here to guide you into making a choice right now. So I'm going to make this make sense. And that's why it's so you have to do an effective price buildup because whether they still, kind of have that in their head of, oh man, it's a little more than I wanted this, than I can afford. Or, hey, it still leaves the door open to move them down to a standard level if you want to. Or if you have to.
And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. That's a sale. Okay. At the end of the day, I look at people and go, hey, because we've all had people look at us and go, hey, what level do you think I should get? Mm-hmm. And my response to that's always the same. Don't ask me that question because I don't know your budget. You get what works best for you so that you're never going to cancel it. And that if anything ever happens and you get cancer, you're going to be taken care of and your family will. You can always move up with me. But I don't want you pissed off at me every single month. Guys, Let's touch on the close real quick so we can be done with this demo and on with the rest of the manual, guys. The close is crucial, right? And you got to know when somebody's accepting it, when they're giving you the buying signals. Okay. I remember I was in a demo with a guy about 1.5 years ago, and the lady was like, yeah, I can do this level right here. And he goes, well, do you have any more questions? She's like, no, I don't. And, I said, and she's like, this level of work. And he's like, well, do you have any more questions? And I literally took the iPad out of his hands, guys, and said, she's telling you she wants to get it. Sign her up. Stop asking. We got out to the car and I was like, how many times does she have to say, yes, I want it?
Shut your mouth. God, just sign her up.
Right. And I was like, oh my God, this is getting to be ridiculous. It's almost a joke. Do you have any more questions? I love it. When you train people, you're going to see some of the craziest things you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, where was that in the sales talk? So the close. Guys, every sale has a start, a middle, and an end. Okay? The close is the end. Okay? And know this too, man. If you are not in this business to service people and take care of them, get out. Because this job is more than the sale. Hey, Brad, man, I've got cancer. I need you to help me out. Oh, cool. Call the company. Good talking to you. How much do you think that's going to benefit anybody? Guys, I help people file claims. I'll drive 1.5 hours, to pick your claim up, sit down with you at your kitchen table. That's what makes people know that you are more than a salesperson. They know that they have got a friend and somebody that is going to take care of them. Okay. So the close, following instruction, the tutorial pages outline the initial closing. At the end of the presentation, you make the statement. And guys, we all say this in some way, shape, or form. So I always say, hey, it's coverage if you need it. If not, you're going to get your money back. And if something happens to you and you pass away, we give all that money back to your beneficiaries. Makes sense, doesn't it? The only thing that doesn't make sense is going through something like this, like cancer, heart attack, or stroke, and not having a coverage like this. It's going to, take care of you and your family. Okay. And some people do, and some people don't, guys. When I'm on the page where the pricing is, after I've shown them the 3 choices, or I've shown them what happens with your money if you never use it, I'll go back and just look at it, the pricing, and go, so Brandy, you tell me which one of these coverage works best for you and your family. And then I just stare at the page.
Mm-hmm.
Dead quiet. I love the iPad because I can look down at my iPad and see their reflection and see what they're doing while I'm waiting on them in that awkward silence. And guess what, guys? The first one to talk, what?
Loses.
Loses. Nope. First one to talk loses. So don't be the first one to talk. I've sat there, man, well over a minute. And sitting on like the elite or the preferred level, just sitting there, right? Guys, it's okay to have that awkward silence. Give them a second, let them talk, let them figure out what works best for them. But you're letting them know. So the best way to do this is asking the prospect questions that will cause them to come up with a reason to make a buying decision. Betty, now that you've seen the entire policy, here's where we're going back into third party, right? What Brandy liked was she thought it was a win-win situation. If she needed the protection, it was there for her. If she didn't, she would have all of the premiums returned. What another one of my, and they don't know these customers, guys, but if you sell people at a business and they're at that business, use those people. Use those people. I do it all the time, man. The guy that bought last night, you can guarantee you today when I'm talking to other people at that business, his name will come up in that conversation all the time.
As it should.
What he liked about it was that his family is going to be taken care of. One of the things he said to me was, hey, man, I just want to make sure if something happened to me that nobody in my family was left out in the cold and everybody was able to, keep on keeping on. Right? Whether those are his words or not, it's this third party stuff. And most people, guys, when you ask this second question, what is about the coverage that you like the most? Guys, they're going to give you the same freaking answers that everybody else gives you. Oh, I like the way that it pays me for my yearly checkups. Oh, I like the way that it takes care of me and my family. Oh, I like the way that it pays. I like the way if something happens to me and I die, it all goes to my beneficiary. Guys, you're going to get the same freaking answers all the time. You ever sat there and looked somebody in the face while you're talking to them and go, I know the exact thing that you're getting ready to say. Hey, I've got a question. Go ahead. And you know exactly what they're, but it's everything that you can do in your being not to answer it before they get everything out of their mouth. And you're just like,
Yep.
yeah. But guys, it happens. That's what happens. Because we are this is a Broadway play put on by psychiatrists. We're psychiatrists. We know because people give us the same responses and rebuttals and questions and fears every single time. So, all right, getting through the close, guys.
Y'all, and I feel like a lot of people really skip that next question, and it's a very important one. You know, it's, of course, hey, Brandy, so what Todd really loved about it was just how affordable it was. He was like, you know, Brad, I spend more than that on my cable and internet service every month or my cell phone bill. He's like, man, I can't justify spending the same amount or less on something that's going to, A, protect my family, B, enable me to get the best treatment available if something happens, C, if I don't ever use it, I'm just going to get it all back. He's like, dude, sign me up, man. I can't justify not having that. Or some less than your cell phone bill, you know, for a lot of folks. You know, what Brandy really loved about it was just how much it covered. The fact that there's no cap on the total amount of benefits you can receive. No lifetime limits, pays in addition to anything else you have. Everybody loves the fact you don't ever use it. You just get it all back. So, Greg, what about this just really made sense to you? What did you really like about it? And of course, they're going to respond with, and whatever they say, you just look them in the face. You know, yeah. That's why everybody picks this up. Now, Greg, let me ask you, how would it feel just knowing, and y'all do not skip that next question or the next two questions. Greg, how would it feel just knowing if something does happen, you're going to be all right financially? You got a lot of help coming to you. How do you think that's going to feel, just knowing that?
That's going to feel great.
Yeah. Now, Greg, let me ask you this. How do you think it would also feel just knowing, or hell, man, you know, 25 years from now, you never had to use this and you get a fat check for 30 grand? That probably feel pretty good too, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
I try and equate things like this for people in their heads. Let's say Brandy has a new baby. She's pregnant. She has a new baby coming. Congratulations, Brandy. I'll say to her, hey, you know, 25 years from now, that could be a wedding. It could be college. It could be, just helping your kids not struggle as much as we did as kids, and you want to help them put money down on a house. When you get that money back, that would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. So I try and project 25 years into the future and help them go, you know what? For just putting that little bit of money now away, and hell, if I did get cancer, this would happen. But if not, I'm gonna be able to take care of my kids or my, whatever. Guys, that's a good idea. Have you ever looked at what your coverage equals when you get back in 25 years? Mine's over 90 grand. Yeah, 90 grand. I'll be using that for sure. Okay, that's hookers and cocaine money, man, when I'm in my damn 70s. I'm just kidding.
You'd probably still be able to keep up with them, Todd.
Woohoo!
Hey, can I interject real quick? Brad was talking. That's also a really good way, to also, like you were talking about, Brandy picked it up because Brandy just said, hey, it's A, it's going to help protect my family. B, it's going to give me the best treatment available. And C, if I don't use it, I just get all my money back. And then, what Todd really liked about it was just how much it covered. The fact that there's no caps, there's no limits. That's also a good way to remind them of things they may have, not necessarily missed through there's just a lot of information getting thrown in a short period of time, but that also kind of reiterates, yeah, that's right, there are no caps. Oh, yeah, that's right, there's no limits. So yeah, third party, in addition to also reminding them of the things that really make the difference between what we do.
Well, and yeah, and y'all,
Greg,
that's where
and
people
that's a good
sell
point, Greg.
themselves. Yeah, and that's where people sell themselves. Yeah, and that's where people sell themselves, and that's exactly why we do it, is to remind people like, hey, look, it's not that much money. It is affordable. And
So guys, go ahead. Sorry, Brad.
no, you're good. Or hey, yeah, this is why this makes sense. That's why we ask them the questions. And y'all, if you're not going through that close properly, you're going to get a lot more. Well, let me think about it. You got to go through the close the exact way that it says right here in this sales manual.
Guys, just read these pages for Christ's sake. Read the page. It starts on 87, the close. Just read it and practice it.
If you're struggling with your
closing,
it's right there. Yeah, just y'all. This is why this stuff is here. If you're getting a lot of runarounds or a lot of people who can't make decisions when you sit down with them, if you find yourself doing a lot of demos and your closing percentage sucks, what does that tell you? Get better. Study your
guys.
stuff.
I was in a group presentation the other day. I had a group presentation last Monday night before I left to go out of town, man. And I knew one of the guys at the sheriff's deputy when I met with him. He's one of those cocky guys who was like, "Oh, dude, man, and look, Todd, this is when I met with him a year and a half ago, and I just remembered this about him because you always remember different things about people." But he was like, "Man, I got more money than most people here at this department, and I mean, I'm here, for the benefits and stuff like that." And he's just trying to act all cocky with me and stuff. So in my group presentation, now he doesn't remember that he told me that, but in my group presentation, I was like, "Hey, man, if you think you have all the money in the world and you're good to go and you save a lot and you're really good with that, that's awesome. But let me ask you this. If you spend all your money that you have saved up because you're trying to fight cancer or a heart attack or a stroke or an injury, what do you got to do to get it back?" And everybody in the room was like, "Yeah, work harder, longer." And I was like, exactly. I was like, "Guys, but if something happens to you and you use my money, you don't have to pay me back." I said, that's a business decision. That's good business. So I took that out of the way, because I knew that was going to happen. So let's do this, guys. Let's end up, but then next week, let's start with 93, and then let's finish this dang joker up. You want to? We only got about 30 pages, 35 more pages left. Can we do that? You think we can knock it out next Tuesday? Well, next Tuesday's a train war, so we're not doing it next Tuesday.
Yeah,
Brandy, I saw your face. So we got 2 weeks to get through the rest of it. This thing ends on 131. I'm sure there's a lot of fluff and stuff in there. So can we all be in agreement that next week we're going to get this done and be done? Or 2 weeks from now after the train war?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Cool. And Brad, you will be running that call because I will be in, unless I can get on, I'll be in Wisconsin riding with Amber Winfrey.
Nice. Y'all, just as we are wrapping up, just going through the demo process today, understand this. If you are not doing the 6 steps of the demo, abiding by the sales talk, then you're losing out on a lot of families getting protected and a lot of money. Okay. Because all that means is that you're adding fluff to your demo that is not necessary, and it's shooting yourself in the foot. So if you find yourself adding fluff and you can't do a demo from beginning to end, just word for word, then you got no business adding any fluff to it. Y'all, you cannot personalize a demo until you have memorized the entire thing. Word for word from beginning to end. Only then can you start to personalize it. So if you find yourself, when we're talking about, the proper way to go through these things, and it's like, oh man, I'm going to say a little extra here and extra. Stop doing that, because you're adding fluff. And a lot of times, the majority of the time when it comes to this and what we do, less is more. So stick to the script. If you find yourself doing a lot of demos and your closing percentage isn't hitting right or whatever, yeah, get your butt back into Success Manual and study this stuff. Read it. It's right here in front of you. Yo, if you can master this sales talk without adding any fluff to it at all, you'll make $100,000 a year. Easy. So quit adding fluff to things where it's not necessary, because I know everybody does it. And you know, some people are good at that. Most people are not. Most people just need to stick to the sales talk and don't go out in left field about a bunch of random shit. Okay. People don't care about your personal life. They don't. And that's like I was telling Brandy last night. Look, we're not out here to make friends. We're not out here to make buddies. We're out here to get families protected. Okay. So yeah, y'all know the sales talk. You know, it's simple stuff, and it is very important. So, and when you do it right, the way it says it to say the way it says how to do it right here, it works. It's crazy how that works, but it does. It's right there. So, sorry, Todd. Just a little.
No worries. So next week, guys, next week we're going to be 93, 94 through 131 and finish this joker up. 2 weeks. Excuse me. I keep saying that. And then we'll go from there. But love you guys, man. Be safe today. Kenny D, always looking right on. Look like you're from Hollywood or something like that, riding around in a big body Benz with $2 worth of gas.
I just put $2 in it right then when we was on the call.
Hey, y'all. Also,
when I was a kid, that's the way it was, man. I'd put $2 in and then spend money on cigarettes.
Y'all also
$2 is just a drip of gas now.
Nowadays, yeah.
Ain't like back then.
Y'all also, hey, next week is a Train More. Preparing for that starts this week. Remember that, okay? You know, we're all leaders on this call. You know, hey, we start preparing for Train Wars the week prior. So maximize the efforts. You know, there's going to be bonuses thrown out, tossed around all over the place. Make sure you're getting your part. Make sure you're getting your part. Start preparing for your Train More next week today. All right. But hey, appreciate y'all.
Anybody else got any questions? So do you have any more questions?
Well, what do you think?
I want to buy it. Oh, do you have any more questions?
Y'all be
I
good.
thought you were doing that on a date. So, hey, you know, you want to stay tonight? I do want to stay tonight. So, do you want to stay tonight? I said, yeah.
Are you sure?
You guys,
where are all these recordings at? Where can I find them?
Web, man.
Like this is being
You gotta
recorded.
go-
Like, is it on YouTube? Is this all going to advanced?
I don't know. I know that there is some black hole because I get an email and I send it off, but I think they're all stored on the P1F page or something like that.
There's a link to the YouTube. I think that was the purpose.
Everything is on the Protect One Family website.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything you could ever need is on the Protect One Family website. Audio trainings, I mean, videos to watch. I mean, anything, every tool you could possibly need to be successful in this business is right there on that website, y'all. And if you're not familiar with that, get familiar with it, and take it seriously, because if you actually use those tools, you'll find yourself getting better and making a lot more sales and protecting a lot more families. And your bank account obviously gets pretty fat pretty quick when you do that. So.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great Train More. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and hope everything goes well for everybody. Okay. Thank you guys for being on. I appreciate it very much.
Great call, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you all.
y'all.